When it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful and I have hope that it will actually endure and that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still, just this in the last few days, that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military. And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind of praise or celebration at a moment when it is still so in its infancy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nissim Black Show. Listen, Zohran Mamdani, I believe that Zohran Mamdani is every single thing that Zohran Mamdani says that he is plus. I think it was plus. I think the evil is even worse than we could possibly ever imagine. However, at the same time, we need to keep in mind that Zohran Mamdani cannot do nearly half of the things that he says he wants to do. I'm going to play a clip from you. I'm going to give you my opinion, but sometimes you need to hear from the horse himself. So I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
As former hostages celebrate being home, there is new heartbreak for families of those killed by Hamas. Hamas says that it can't hand over any more bodies without special equipment to recover them. Israel says one of the 4 bodies returned so far does not match any of the hostages who died. Zohran Mamdani is leading the race for mayor in New York City, the biggest city in the country and the capitalist center of the world. The 33-year-old is proposing free childcare, free buses, freezing rent, and city-run grocery stores. He has claimed that we should not really have billionaires in this city, and he has vowed to make New York the strongest sanctuary city in the country. His views on hot topics like the NYPD and Israel have been a constant source of controversy, but he is ahead by 13 points right now in this race. I sat down with him on the eve of tomorrow night's big mayoral debate in New York City. Here's part 1 of our exclusive interview. Thank you very much for being here. Candidate for mayor of New York City, you're up by 13 points. It looks like you've got the wind at your back. You've got a big debate coming up tomorrow night with the other candidates, Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. Obviously, New York City policy is front and center, but I would imagine that some of the big headlines recently are going to come up tomorrow night as well. So I want to get to all the policy issues in New York, but I wanted to ask you this first. If you are asked tomorrow night, if you give credit to President Trump for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the return of the 20 living hostages, would you raise your hand?
You know, first I want to say it's a real pleasure to be here. And thank you for having me. And it's an honor to have this opportunity to speak to so many New Yorkers and Americans across the country. And
That's one of the reasons I can't do politicians. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to let it play, but that's one of the reasons I can't. It's too doctored for me. It's just way too doctored for me. Whatever. Let them talk. But cringe alert. I should have told you guys ahead of time. Cringe alert. Every time this guy talks.
when it comes to the ceasefire, I am thankful and I have hope that it will actually endure and that it will be lasting. And I continue to have concerns because I've seen reports still, just this in the last few days, that 5 Palestinians were killed by the Israeli military. And that's what gives me pause about issuing any kind of...
What about the soldiers that were killed by Hamas? What about the Palestinians that were killed? Public execution. As Israelis were leaving, public execution of their own people. Much more than 5 people. What about that? That's so interesting to me that just somehow doesn't come up in this conversation.
Praise or celebration at a moment when it is still so in its infancy. And what I will tell you is that in that same moment, it is also one that requires a focus on ensuring that hope, that belief in a better future is one that is emblematic in our policies right here in New York City as well. And that's what we're hoping to lead with.
So would you give President Trump credit or not, to any extent? Credit or not?
I think it's too early to do so.
Too early to say.
But if it proves to be something that is lasting, something that is durable, then I think that's where you give credit.
So you've denounced Israel and the United States for the response to the slaughter on October the 7th. In fact, at times you've called it a lasting stain, the response, and at times you have left October 7th out of your statements completely around this issue. Right now, you just talked about Israelis killing some Palestinians, but Hamas is killing Palestinians.
Exactly. Let's see what he answers.
Within Gaza. And they have not returned the bodies that they promised to return, including 2 Americans, Itai Chen and Omer Nutra, whose families we have interviewed over these months. So what is your response to what Hamas is doing now?
I think those are bodies and remains that should absolutely be returned. And I think that I have no issue with critiquing Hamas or the Israeli government, because my critiques all come from.
So do it. So do it. You have no problem with critiquing it, but you're not doing it, right? So do it. But he won't.
A place of universal human rights. And my focus, however, is right here in New York City and transforming the most expensive city in America into one that's affordable for each and every New Yorker.
But, okay, I want to get to that, absolutely. But do you believe that Hamas should lay down their weapons and leave the leadership in Gaza?
I believe that any future here in New York City is one that we have to make sure that's affordable for all. And as it pertains to Israel and Palestine, that we have to ensure that there is peace. And that is the future that we have to fight for.
But you won't say that Hamas should lay down their arms and give up leadership in Gaza.
I don't really have opinions about the future of Hamas and Israel beyond the question of justice and safety and the fact that anything has to abide by international law. And that applies to Hamas, that applies to the Israeli military, applies to anyone you could ask me about.
Okay. One last thought on that. You have said that you would arrest Netanyahu if he came to the United States. You've been very outspoken in your criticism of him. Do you stand by that? You would arrest him if he came here, if you were mayor?
I've said that this is a city that believes in international law, and this is a city that wants to uplift and uphold those beliefs. The Prime Minister...
The United States doesn't stand by the International Criminal Court.
It hasn't signed...
Boom. The United States does not stand by the international court. So how can the city, not state, the city, how can a city itself say that it is going to uphold international law, or it believes in international law, when as a country and as a government, the federal government does not recognize international law at the international court? So you're starting to see here where the whole entire thing is breaking down. The guy is so cringe. The guy is so cringe. And I'm telling you, these people, they make it up as they go. It's all scripted. And you can see from everything that he's saying how it's always going back to this other point that he would like to talk about, right? Because this when it comes to things like this, they know they're not well versed in these type of things. They know that when they really give over their opinions, and if you let them talk too long, you'll get to the way that they really feel. So one of the mechanisms that these people do, leftists in general, what they will do is always try to bring it back, right, to a conversation that they can have very strongly with you and have a different point of view, or something that they're much stronger in, but they will not go into areas where they know that they will fail miserably, right? And you'll see it over and over again.
And the treaty for the International Criminal Court. The International Criminal Court, however, has issued a warrant for the arrest of Benjamin Netanyahu.
But what grounds in the United States could you arrest him on?
As it has for Vladimir Putin. I've said that I believe that we should uphold arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court, and that you should do so only in abiding with all of the laws in front of us. I'm not going to make a new law to ensure that we can actually do this.
Do you think that Commissioner Tisch...
Because you can't make a new law that would cause us to, like, that's what I'm saying. You could believe the person is what they are, but you cannot believe that they could do everything they'll say they would do. What new law will he create? Because he can't.
Would allow you to arrest Netanyahu in New York City? I've
appreciated Commissioner Tisch's leadership of the NYPD, and I think that she's done a good job at lowering crime across the city.
But do you think that...
That was not the answer to the question, by the way. I'm just making sure you guys know that. I'm sorry I keep stopping it. We'll talk again.
She would go along with arresting Netanyahu in New York.
I can tell you that I'm going to exhaust every legal option in front of me, not to make new laws to do so.
All right, so we got that business.
So anyway, I just, he's a hard person to watch. I mean, basically, you see it. I think that right now, we all know that New York is going down. And I actually want to also go over another clip with you guys of the actual debate and hear some of the things that he said in the debate. I mean, but we are not living in a time where we cannot go and pull up receipts, right? We can always go right now and go pull up, whether it's videos, whether it's posts. And unfortunately, I mean, this is the same guy. I mean, he was a rapper. Now, I have to be honest, like, just as corny as he was then, he's also corny on the thing. And this is, for me, I'm looking at all of this as this is like a straight up like sign. This is a message. I feel like Hashem, I feel like God is yelling at us, right? Yelling at us, showing us that because of our inability to hear him, our inability to live our lives in the way that we know that we ought to live our lives, that we have over the while, and I'm talking really to a community of if you believe in God, I am talking to you, that we have allowed wokeism and the anti-God movement, that's what I call all these people, the anti-God movement, to infiltrate and to take over, whether it's in films, whether it's in music, whether it's in movie. And we constantly have taken so much of their garbage in key positions of power and entertainment, all these people. And I feel like because we have allowed these people so much leeway, so to speak, that now it is steamrolled into. I mean, listen, we were literally in November of 2004. Trump was making crazy headway in New York. I don't know how you go from that to a guy like this looking like he's about to win by a pretty decisive victory. I don't know how you get there. The only thing I can actually say is that I think that we are much further gone than what we think as a society and as a people. I really think we're much farther than that. And it's as if God is telling us right now, listen, wake up. Mamdani is not good for anybody. It's for sure not going to be good for the Jews. I don't care how many videos come out with him and Hasidic rabbis and with rabbis and everything else. Everybody knows he's not good for the Jews. And if he's not good for the Saturday people, I guarantee you he won't be good for the Sunday people also. That is just the way that it goes. So if you believe in God, right now, you are going to have to stand up. Mamdani's he's really the cherry on top. Most people don't usually eat the cherries if they don't have the ice cream. Usually you eat the cherry because you have the ice cream. But underneath all of that, underneath the layers of the cherry, is all the nonsense that we've allowed into our lives to reshape our thoughts. And for us, it can have so of an effect. But for the rest of these other people, the anti-God people, the people that have absolutely no connection to godliness, for them, they're all the way far gone. And that's what gives birth to people like this. This is what puts people like him into positions of power. And this is absolutely what destroys societies. So my hope is that something changes. I don't know what to do except for pray. That's all we can do. That's all we could do. All we could do is pray. And you can show up and you can go vote. Nothing has to be over, but it's not looking so good. Please, so drop me a comment. Let me know how you feel about what this guy says. Are you guys just as cringed out as I am about this guy? Please drop me a comment. Let me know how you feel. Thank you so much for watching. Please, again, make sure you like, subscribe, notification bell, and if you can, make sure that you pick up some merch. Nissim Black .store. Make sure you get yourself a cup, t-shirt, something, help and support this channel. Also, you can sign up for Glory Nation, which is my online community where we go deep into prayer and how to protect ourselves from being idiots. See you guys in the next video.